Welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the main card fights for UFC Fight Night, Hall versus Silva. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the main card. So in our first fight on the main card, we have about in the lightweight division between Bobby Greene and Thiago Moises. So looking at this fight right here, you got a wrestler versus a grappler or a BJJ player, and you got a boxer versus more of a kind of like a hybrid karate style fighter. So looking at their strengths, Bobby Greene's very slick, good reflexes, good boxing, good timing on the feet. Thiago Moises is not the best timing on the feet. Got some good kicks, got some good distance control. Not the best hands. Like you've seen Michael Johnson was able to pick him apart easily, just walk through him on the feet with his hands, like with his boxing. But he gets you to the ground. That's his element. But his striking is pretty clean. But I definitely think Thiago Moises' striking is like, up there as far as the caliber of this division. Like it's decent, but as we've seen, it's not far from the best. Not bad, but not far from the best in the division. Like I said, he really in this fight, I think he's gonna be wanting to get this fight to the ground at all costs. But that's where it kind of comes the issue for him against Greene, because Bobby Greene has I'm not gonna say extraordinary, not gonna say great, but he has some he has some pretty good takedown defense, and also he can scramble real well. He has good submission defense. He has good know-how on the ground. He trained with the Diaz brothers and plenty of other high-level grapplers. So I don't think he's ever been submitted inside the UFC. He's been in some bad positions, but like I said, he has a good wherewithal and knows where he's at on the ground. He knows how to, like I say, defend takedowns real well. Knows how to scramble back to his feet. He knows how to defend submission. So I think that's gonna be a little bit of an issue for Moises in one. And also, it's hard to really even stick on the Greene anyway to really try to lock anything on him. So it's like that's gonna be a hard task for Moises. So I really just see Greene as being a slick boxer. I don't think he picks up. Just go out there and just throw up like 100, not like what Michael Johnson was doing, just in his face and just picking him apart until he got, caught in that leg lock or knee bar. But I see him kind of being more on the outside a little bit, sticking a jab on Moises, sometimes pressuring, but mostly maintaining his distance, keeping the sprawl ready, and just like that, sticking jab on him, avoiding his strikes, making it like a low output fight, but dictating when the output's been happening. So he's the one dictating the pace, like low output, but Greene landing the volume, or not the volume, but Greene landing the cleaner, flusher shots, making Moises miss. So turn into a technical fight and be the more technical striker and avoid, heavy exchanges where that opens up opportunities for Moises to shoot heavy on a shot or something, or for something wild to happen. Like I said, just stay clean, stay composed, stay sharp, maintain your distance, fight behind the jab, and like I said, be loose. Be able to defend and be able to move and avoid and slip shots. And like I said, just really just outbox Moises. I think he probably outlands about 10 to 15 significant strikes and wins the decision. So in this fight, I got Bobby Greene via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the heavyweight division, Greg Hardy versus Maurice Greene. So look at this one right here. You got Maurice Greene, who's supposed to be a K1 striker now, or a Glory striker, but I forgot what his record was in Glory. I don't think he was never no big standout in Glory either way, but he does have K1 experience and kickboxing experience. But I say all this to say this, that yes, sometimes he looks the part and he has some of the skills, but it's his defense and his cardio a little bit that's the issue for me. And also, outside of his kickboxing, he does have some decent jiu-jitsu off his back, but I don't really see his jiu-jitsu being in effect because I don't think he could take Greg Hardy down. I think Greg Hardy's going to play in his guard. And even if he does, I think Greg Hardy could pretty much handle Green jiu-jitsu. Like Greene has some sneaky jiu-jitsu, but I don't think there's anything Hardy's going to have to worry about in this fight. I think really the most thing that Hardy has to worry about in this fight is the striking of Greene. And but the issue with the striking of Greene is that Greene, he fades after the first round, or he kind of falls into a pattern after that first round. Hands start to hang low. He don't move his feet as much. You pretty much could just walk him down and just catch him over the top because those hands start to drop, chin starts to come up, starts to move backwards a lot. Like, so he has some defensive holes. His footwork like I said, just becomes almost non-existent after that first round. And he's liable to get caught. Got caught by Gian Villante in the last fight. But he did eventually rally for that submission in that third round. I think after getting dropped in that third round. And there's a couple other fights where I've seen that same pattern. It's always a pattern with him. So really after that first round, or even that first 3 minutes, he starts to open up. His defense starts to open up, and yeah, it's just not a good look. Now going against Greg Hardy, I think early on it's gonna be competitive. It's gonna be like a filler process. Greene probably gonna be getting the better of Hardy early, But as the fight goes on, I think Greg Hardy's defense is cleaner, his footwork's cleaner. Greene might have the more experience, but I think Hardy overall is a more solid fighter, or at least he has a fighter that doesn't have the biggest gaping holes. We've seen Hardy can fight defensively. We've seen Hardy can use footwork. We've seen Hardy can fight on the outside. And like I said, avoid the big damage. Whereas Greene, like if the fight opens up or goes further, he gets opened up for, big shots that get fight-ending shots. So I just really see Greg Hardy, like I said, biding his time, keep the fight close, but and kind of let Greene, I'm going to say, let's keep the fight close enough and kind of fight on the outside a little bit. And as Greene starts to fade, start to walk him down, to catch him over the top with a right hand and TKO him. So in this fight, I got Greg Hardy via second round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the middleweight division, Muradov versus Kevin Holland. So this is an interesting fight right here. Two solid prospects right here, two very talented fighters, and both seem to have a great career here. And you almost could forget about these two people. Acting like Adesanya has cleared out the division. And you could say, oh, Kevin Holland definitely not going to give Adesanya no threat right now, but give it a couple years, and I think Holland's still in his 20s, probably 3 years, 4 years left in his 20s or something. So that could be somebody who can evolve into somebody that could be a threat for Adesanya. Muradov already looks like he has some threats to Adesanya, but yeah, don't sleep on these two. These guys definitely have, win or lose this fight, both these guys have bright careers ahead of them. And like I said, you can see both these guys challenging for a title, whether Adesanya is there or not, whether he moves up, stays there or not. In the next 2 years, they could be there, or maybe even a year, or maybe definitely not less than a year, but 2 years or less, I can see those guys up there. But yeah, Muradov versus Kevin Holland, enough intro between those two. How I see this fight right here is that Muradov seems to have some decent boxing, but I'm not all that impressed, especially defensively. Even though he's supposed to be such a moving fighter, have such good movement, I did see him get tagged and rocked against the Cheerio, I think at least once or twice in that fight. And it's not like the Cheerio has the best striking or the best footwork. He's kind of a plodding fighter, telegraph these big heavy shots, and you're not supposed to be. If you're supposed to be that slick, you're not supposed to get hit by guys like that. You're supposed to be able to jab him up and just move and not get rocked in those fights. So definitely some issues there. I don't feel like he can move around like that for too long. He starts to fade a little bit when he does that. In level competition in the UFC, yes, he's won those fights, but it's not like he hasn't fought the best competition. I think Kevin Holland's fought the better competition in the UFC between the two. Much better competition. But yeah, why to see this fight to get to the point of this one. I think Kevin Holland's height and reach, I think he'll have the striking advantage against Muradov, even though people say, oh, he trained with Mayweather and trained with this and trained with that. I'm still not all that impressed with Muradov's boxing or striking. I do like his footwork a little bit. I do like his versatility. I like his angles. I like his creativity out there. But defense, I don't really like it. I don't like the fact that he's going to be on a reach disadvantage or height disadvantage. I like the fact that Kevin Holland put up more volume to him. I think Kevin Holland has the better jab, and Kevin Holland's more confident on the feet. Like he's gonna have that reach. He's gonna put up volumes. He's more confident on the feet, and he'll land the harder shots and the cleaner shots. Well, I feel like Muradov has the best chances to mix in wrestling and get some control time to edge the fight for him. But what I feel like is Kevin Holland's gonna outland him on the feet, use the jab, use that distance, be creative, be awkward, and like I said, pile of volume like he always does. I feel like Muradov will get takedowns, but Holland won't be able to get up back to his feet. And I think at times Muradov will have opportunities on the ground, or you'll be able to have some control time on the ground, but I feel like Kevin Holland will be working nonstop off his back, trying to throw submissions, land strikes, trying to get sweeps, and then get back to his feet. So I feel like it's going to be a close fight, but Kevin Holland's going to win the fight basically via his output and activity and looking for the finish, or looking for, attempting to finish or attempting to fight the whole time, where Muradov's going to have time to be looking to point fight. And that's what is the fight for Kevin Holland. So in this fight, I got Kevin Holland via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in our co-main event, Bryce Mitchell versus Andre Touchy Fili. So at 145, did I say that or did I not? But either way, this is an interesting matchup right here. I think this is kind of a challenge for Mitchell, or at least a test for Mitchell in a way, because Fili has solid takedown defense, trains with Alpha Male all the time. He trains at Alpha Male. He's a team Alpha Male fighter. So they're around wrestlers all the time. And you've seen with Andre Fili, he has good takedown defense. He can keep the fight on his feet. He also has some underrated takedown offense. So he's going against Mitchell, who we see some of Mitchell striking, but to be honest, from my perspective or from what I've seen, I'm not at all really impressed by Mitchell's striking, but I'm really impressed by his grappling. Especially in his last couple fights, he's been this looking like a monster on the ground. At first, he looked like he wasn't really great in any area, but he was just a guy that just outworked people. But in his last couple fights, he's been looking like a grappling monster. Like he evolved in his grappling. But his striking to me still isn't all that impressive. So I feel like Fili, stylistic-wise, can have takedown offense to stuff his takedowns, or at least be to neutralize or respond to his takedowns. And then on feet, not pick him apart, but be the better striker on the feet and win this one. But that's not my prediction in this one. I feel like Andre Fili at this current time is the better fighter, the more well-rounded fighter, at least stylistically-wise, to defend Mitchell's takedowns, then outstrike him. But I feel like Mitchell is a fighter who's not going to even care about all the stats and care about all this. He's going to go out there and fight. So he don't care you're taller, don't care you got to take down offense, don't care you're a prettier striker or a cleaner striker. He's going to go out there and fight. He's going to go out there and fight. And even when he was an Ultimate Fighter, he just went out. It was sometimes we fought guys that were supposed to be better, and he just went out there and fought, put in dog fights, had these close fights, but he never stopped working, never stopped fighting. That's not going to be the difference now that he's better or in the UFC or a little bit older now, or a year, 2 year older now. He's going to be out there and he's going to fight. So like I said, I feel like Andre Fili has the takedown offense and the better striking. But I feel like Mitchell's not going to care. He's going to keep going for takedowns. He's going to go for 100 takedowns if he needs to. He's going to throw some haymakers if he needs to. Like I said, getting in to get a reaction from Fili, draw him off, just work, pressure, and try to get takedowns. But I see this as a very competitive fight. But I think the pressure and pace of Mitchell is going to eventually start to factor against Fili. I don't even think he's going to wear Fili down and submit him or nothing like that. But I think he's really going to start to fatigue Fili, which is going to allow Mitchell to land some more strikes, to get some more takedowns. And all of that's going to factor him like cage control, pressure, takedown, top control. It's all going to factor in Mitchell getting that decision. It's going to be, like I said, competitive fight, but it's going to come down to the dog in Mitchell and his pace and his wrestling and non-stopping. So really, again, the pace and the dog of Mitchell. So in this fight, I got Bryce Mitchell via decision. Now to our main event, we have in the 185-pound division, the middleweight division, Uriah Hall versus Anderson Silva, the middleweight GOAT, and possibly the all-time UFC MMA GOAT in Anderson Silva. Like at one time he was, but right now it's a lot of people putting their own claims to it, and they all got some reasonable claims to being the GOAT. Even though some I feel like they don't deserve. But yeah, let's not get too far in that. But yeah, Silva definitely up there, top 3 all-time fighters in MMA, in my opinion, and in most people's opinions. Definitely up there for anyone's all-time greats in MMA, in UFC, and all-time fighters as well. So give him his roles. Anderson Silva is a GOAT. So yeah, Uriah Hall versus Anderson Silva. This is kind of an interesting fight right here. You got the man who was kind of, people were saying, oh, might be the next Anderson Silva versus the actual Anderson Silva. So now at this point, Uriah Hall, we all know, will never beat Anderson Silva. I mean, not beat, but he will never beat Anderson Silva. It keeps sounding like I'm saying beat, but he will never beat Anderson Silva, but he has the opportunity to beat Anderson Silva. So let me say this cleaner. He will never beat Anderson Silva, but he has the opportunity to beat Anderson Silva now. Anderson Silva is 45 years old now, so like 10 years removed from his prime. Because I think it's kind of MMA prime, like 30, 35. 35 is kind of pushing it, kind of like 30, 33, but 30, 35 is decent enough. That's like kind of like the MMA prime. And Anderson Silva is now 10 years removed from that. So it's been 10 years since Anderson Silva was in his prime. He's 45, like 5 years. He's closer to being 50 than he's close to being in his prime. So way closer to being 50 than he is close to being in his prime. So like, he's in an interesting position. And you can also look at Anderson Silva's record and say, oh, he only lost to people that's really still good. He lost to Cannonier, lost to Adesanya, and et cetera, et cetera. Like, he hasn't been losing to any bad people. He's been losing to people who really were top contenders or future champions or current champions and stuff like that. So you can't really say Anderson Silva has faded that much necessarily. Well, or you can't say that Anderson Silva is not. Matter of fact, I could say you could definitely say he faded a lot because he probably would beat a lot of those people in his. He would definitely beat a lot of people outside of Adesanya in his prime, and maybe even beat Adesanya in his prime. But yeah, he's faded a lot. But as far as just being a has-been who can't hang with the division, you can't necessarily say that just yet. Well, he is 45 though, so it's not he don't want to be in the division just to hang around. He wants to be in the division to be champion. So you're just hanging around, no beating it. That's why I feel like he should not be here. But he definitely not this guy that is an easy win for anyone or an easy pick. As a matter of fact, I feel like Anderson Silva should win this fight against Hall, but I'm going to lean to Hall in this one. But I'm going to say why I feel like Silva should win this one, in my opinion, versus Hall. Because let me just go back. The fight where I feel like kind of told me that Silva should beat Hall is the Bevon Lewis fight. Bevon Lewis was able to just bully Hall in the clinch, like bully him, just be able to knee him in the butthole and just pick him apart, hand fight him, just destroy him from like pick him apart, literally pick him apart, not just like he beat him by 5 strikes, but like he was just like one-way traffic, just doing whatever he wanted to do to Uriah Hall for pretty much every single second of that fight outside of one punch. So I feel like Anderson Silva is much better than Bevon Lewis, even at 45. Much better in the clinch, much more dangerous in the clinch, much more versatile, and much more sting in his punches, much sharper. And I feel like Silva could do that, if not more. And Hall had that kind of a mental midget at times, a lot of times. So when you see Anderson Silva in his face and like that, I can see him getting intimidated. I see him getting starstruck. And also when Anderson Silva starts to taunt him and beat in his face, I can see Hall start crying. I'm not going to start exaggerating. I can start to see Hall start to crack a little bit out there. And that's what Anderson Silva wants. He wants somebody to crack out there, to take advantage of them, getting off their game. I can see Anderson Silva just picking apart and playing with Hall at points of this fight. I think Anderson Silva was a bigger fighter between the two as well. Like I said, I can see him being in his face, hand fighting, landing the jab on Hall, swelling his eye up, then get him in the clinch, knee him to the body, knee him to the head, making him miss, making him spin and miss, kick him in the body, kick him in the leg, and it's like, so I can see, I got to see Silva just playing with him after going out there playing with him. But I'm just going to really lean to Hall for the fact that Silva is 45. He's almost 10 years older than Hall at 36, and Silva's 10 years removed from his prime. So even though Silva is all this and all that, and still I would say a much better fighter than Hall, I was gotta say, like, you're 45, and typically patterns when you start to fade, like, you kind of start to lose to anyone. So how I see this fight going, I think Silva would have success, but I think Hall is just gonna start to dig to his leg with some kicks, and Silva is like not gonna be able to take that anymore. Cause like I said, he had those injuries. He's older now, so I think Hall's gonna land some kicks to the leg. I think Hall's gonna be a little bit faster than Silva, and I think I'll work Silva a little bit, the older Silva a little bit, attack some areas where he had injuries. It's gonna be a real close fight. It's gonna be more so come down to the youth and speed of Hall, maybe beating Silva to the punch, beating him to the kick, and just outlanding him by a slim margin. And then when Silva likes to come down and play back, I see Hall just landing a couple strikes in these exchanges. Like I said, and Silva gonna be kind of a little bit too laid back, a little bit too, like I said, like pretty much laid back, and that's gonna allow Hall to, with his speed and his youth, to get some strikes off, get some volume off, and be able to just outwork the older Silva, who's, like I said, just a beat or two behind. That's kind of see the fight going. I can definitely see Silva just picking the Hall apart, but I'm gonna go to, what time has shown plenty times before, is that lean to the youth, especially when a fighter who's been shown to lose. Even though Silva hasn't been losing to good people, eventually they start to lose to the people that they shouldn't lose to, or you can't really have any redemption from losing to, or but they lose a competition like at first that you don't think to the highly up, and then all of a sudden still like Canada didn't think the highest of him, but then he goes on to be a top contender, or show himself to be a top contender. Whereas Hall kind of shown himself to be a middle of the pack guy, and he really lost like his last 2 fights, but 1-1 fight with one punch in pretty much a buzzer, what's it called, a Hail Mary shot that won that last fight. I mean, one of his last fights. In the last fight, he really lost like 90% of it, but because he landed like 2 shots on the feet, they gave it to him. So I feel like Hall could really be on a 2-fight losing streak or more right now. But I just feel like this fight where the youth and speed of Hall is going to favor him, and time has favored the youth over the experience. Like I said, Silva has lost some only good competition, but at some point you start to lose to the competition that you shouldn't lose to anyway. But speeding youth on Hall's side, and Silva kind of playing laid back too much is going to allow Hall to get off some strikes. In a close fight, that's going to edge it for Hall. So in this fight, I have Uriah Hall via decision. And that concludes my fight predictions for the main cards of UFC Fight Night, Hall versus Silva. And as always, thanks for watching.